Brought to you by PrayLatin.com, makers of prayer cards featuring complete English phonetic renderings of Latin pronunciations.
It is the first Sunday of Lent in 2025, and I hope that your Lenten journey is being fruitful so far. I thought it would be appropriate to focus on one figure for the Sundays in Lent, and who better than Padre Pio to guide us through uniting our sufferings to our blessed Lord on the cross. I hope your Lent will be fruitful, and it's never too late to get things corrected during Lent if you stumble on this journey. Here's Padre Pio, continuing with where we left off with him last, where he told us about how he lives in perpetual night. I desire that my mind should think only of Jesus, my heart beat only and always for him, and all of this I promise Jesus assiduously. But alas, I realize very well that my mind wanders, or better, is tried very sorely, and that the spirit too becomes thus affected, and the heart can do nothing but waste away in sorrow. It is true, of course, that I am wholly consecrated to Jesus, and I intend to suffer all this for him, but I am not able to convince myself of this. I do not feel physically very well, but what should I say to you about how I feel morally? My Father, the night becomes ever more deep, the storm ever more severe, the struggle ever more pressing, and all threatens to submerge the poor little boat of my spirit. No comfort descends into my soul. I have become completely blind. All that I can see clearly, if one speaks about sight in this case, is my nothingness on one hand, and on the other, the goodness and greatness of God. I see God within me, but this is far from satisfying my longing, because I feel a greater desire for him. I see God surrounded by a thick fog, and this fog gets increasingly thicker with the passing of the days. Alas, when will he be revealed to my gaze? When will the divine sun shine out in me? Can and should I hope to see this sun, or will I have to remain eternally immersed in this pitch darkness? I am being put to the test in everything. I live in a perpetual night, and there is no sign at all that its thick darkness will give way to the beautiful dawn. I feel God in the center of my soul, but I don't know how to tell you how I feel this. His presence, far from consoling me, infinitely increases my torment, which in every instant causes me to fall into an extremely painful swoon. I feel that he is present to me now, and yet how his presence is covered in a fog. My gaze is fixed continually on this strange and mysterious presence, and the more I fix my gaze, the more I feel my interior sorrow grow, because the object of my contemplation grows itself ever larger and renders itself ever more hidden. I feel my heart break on account of the sorrow, and I have nowhere to put it. I feel, and I carry, death in my heart. I long greatly to see the light, but the more this longing grows, the thicker and more frightening the darkness becomes. And in this hellish chaos I hear and see nothing but the roaring of bloodthirsty lions that are ever ready to devour their prey. But fiat, I repeat always, and I long for nothing other than the fulfillment of this fiat in exactly the way the Lord requests, with generosity and strength. Ah, Father, I beg your diligent help and prayer, because I see myself on the very point of being crushed, suffocated and drowned beneath such a hard trial. I see hell open up beneath my feet, or better, I've already descended into it. I am on the point of shipwreck. I too have been in bed with the Spanish fever, which is causing passing here also. How desirable it would have been for the Lord to call me to himself. But he has reduced me to a most wretched existence because of the struggles I endure. I have spent and spend hours that are terrible and sorrowful. They think me dead at every turn, both physically and morally. God is unknown to my spirit. O good of my soul, where are you? Where have you hidden yourself? Do you not see, Jesus, that my soul wants to see you at any price? It seeks you in every place, but you allow yourself to be found only in the fullness of your fury, where you will fill it with the greatest disturbances and bitterness, leading it to believe how much it belongs to you. Who could express the seriousness of my position? All the things that are clear to me when reflected in your light, I am unable to express in human language. And when I want to stammer something out, the soul thinks it has erred, and that it is more than ever distant from the truth of the matter. My good, are you lost to me forever? I desire to cry out and lament at the top of my voice. But I am very weak, and my strength has deserted me. And what will I ever be able to achieve if I am not able to make my lament ascend to your throne? My God, why have you abandoned me? My soul is totally preoccupied with the clear picture of my wretchedness. My God, how can I stand such a sorrowful sight? Withdraw your light that reveals to me what I am, because I am not able to withstand the clear contrast it presents to me. My Father, in the light of God's splendor, I see all my own wickedness and ingratitude. I see the bad old man, crouched inside myself. He seems to want to repay God tit for tat for being absent, denying God his rights, the very rights that constitute some of this old man's strictest duties. And what strength it requires to get him up onto his feet. My God, come quickly to my aid, because I fear for myself. Faithless and ungrateful creature, protect me from my powerful enemies. I did not know how to make use of your high favors, and now I am condemned to live in my incompetence, folded in on myself, so I am now lost, and your hand lies ever more heavily on me. Alas, who will free me from myself? Who will draw me out of this body of death? Who will reach out a hand to me so that I don't get swallowed up by the deep and vast ocean? Must I resign myself to being caught up in the storm that pursues me ever more closely? Must I pronounce my fiat while I stare at that mysterious person who covers me in sores and does not let up with the hard, bitter, severe, and piercing trial, and who gives no time for the old sores to heal, but places new ones on top of the old ones, to the infinite torment of the poor victim? Alas, my poor Father, for God's sake, come to my aid. It rains blood in my inner being, and very often my eye is forced to see it running down my outer being as well. Ah, if only this affliction would cease, this condemnation, this humiliation, this confusion. My soul is not steady, and cannot resist, and does not know how to resist. How many things, my Father, would I like to tell you, but the greatness of the pain suffocates me and renders me mute. And that was Padre Pio speaking on his fear, very real fear, that he was not saved. That sounds insane to us, listening long for us, after Padre Pio went to our Lord. He is a canonized saint. And this is a common theme you will often see among the saints. Very few of them, some certainly, but very few, knew that they were saved. Most feared that they were living wretched lives. They knew of their own faithlessness in their own eyes. It sounds to some like they despaired. And I could see why some would say that. Padre Pio was clearly deeply concerned that he was going to offend God by faithlessness. He had a very real fear of God. And in our Lent this year, perhaps our greatest lesson can be that we, the Church says, are to cultivate a healthy fear of God. Healthy. This is the kind of fear that a child should have for their own parents, especially their own father. A healthy fear. We have lost the meaning of the word healthy. So in the comments, if you've made it this far, let me know what you think of this and what constitutes having a healthy fear of God, as well as a, of course, healthy fear of your own father, as opposed to the disordered kinds of fear. And how does that relate to what Padre Pio had to say here? Let me know in the comments what you think of this. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't. It certainly helps. So does sharing this on social media. That helps too. And as always, pray for the Church. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.